All right, everyone. Again, thanks so much for joining. We'll go ahead and get started with, there we go. Okay. With the housekeeping slide, sorry, there's still more people popping in. So we're handling multiple things here. All right, so for housekeeping slides, these are the standard run-of-the-mill slides that we have and housekeeping items to walk through. In order to ensure our mugs stay user-focused and a safe space for everyone to chat and learn from each other, we do just have a few housekeeping rules. We want to make sure there's no self-promotion or pitching of any kind, so selling anything. Don't contact anyone outside the user group without their consent. Feel free to reach out to me through LinkedIn or Kim Gandy through LinkedIn. Helen, I'm sure, will volunteer as well if you have questions about our presentation. But if you have any ideas for upcoming meetings or anything, just reach out to me and Kim, and we can kind of like disperse out any questions or comments that you have for the rest of the group. Anything shared in our group session is for the group. Don't share out information that someone states with anyone else.
Hey, Amanda?
Again, without their permission.
I think we are seeing your other screen because we don't see any PowerPoint.
Oh, thank you so much. It's just our page. Okay. Thank you. All right, here we go. I just selected the wrong one. Guys, it's almost the weekend. All right, so continuing on through these housekeeping rules. Thanks so much, Helen. The mug is being recorded, so you're recorded right now. As soon as we're done with the presentation piece, we'll stop recording for that open QA. To stay connected, all of you guys got to this meeting, so I imagine you're signed up through Bevy somehow, but if you do want to subscribe just to hear about our upcoming meetings, just do so inside of Bevy where you registered for this event. And then some upcoming opportunities for members. There was a switch with certifications. If you want any more information on that, please reach out to me. Happy to chat through it. The most recent was the revamp of the MCSA, which is your Solutions Architect certification. I did work on helping revamp that. So if you do have specific questions or need any help, you just want to brainstorm like what it's about and where you're at with your career, I'm very, very happy to discuss and chat with you about it. The main meetings, I think we're almost at the end here. There is a Seattle mug this evening. It's about spring cleaning. I have taken a sneak peek in that deck and it's really awesome. Really good tips within that one. So if you are available this evening, I definitely recommend signing up for that. There's also San Diego mug on the 24th on data management and standardization. I think this one covers information about like smart lists, when you use a smart list versus a segmentation versus an attribute like a field. So that's a good one to attend as well. And then the Dallas mug will be happening on the 26th, a Marketo Engage roundtable. So it's very interesting. That's it for the housekeeping slide. So I'll stop sharing my screen and we will kick it off to Helen. A little bit about Helen. Helen, I'll also let you do an intro yourself. Helen is a 4-time Marketo champion. She works at Bazar Voice. I hope I'm saying that correct. Bazar Voice. Okay. You can correct
Voice. Yep.
Okay, there we go. As the director of marketing operations, she's been in the marketing ops community for such a long time and has presented at Adobe Summit, MopsCon, and some other speaking events I'm sure you've had under your belt, Helen. But that's enough about me gushing about Helen. I'll pass it over to you so you can get started on getting the most out of your Marketo instance.
Thank you, Amanda. Hi, everyone. And I do see some of familiar names. And for the ones that I have not met yet, I'm Helen Abramova. I'm very excited to be here. And just one logistical question. If there are any questions, any issues with my sound, let me know, because it happens, okay? All right, so without further ado, let's jump into our presentation. A couple of words about myself. Oh, it's not going anywhere. It should. Well, Amanda already talked a lot about myself. I would only mention that I am a very avid runner and cyclist, so follow me on Strava, not only on LinkedIn. And I recently started a marketing automation training program for the Ukrainian refugees. So if you have someone around you, send my way. As Amanda said, I'm director of marketing operations at Bazaar Voice, and Kim Gandhi, who is right, like next to, like on my screen, she's next to Amanda, is my very valuable team member, which I'm very luxurious to have. And with that, I want to mention, so this is the Riddle. On my team, I have 5 Marketo Champions, given the fact that some people can be multiple times champions. 3 Marketo certified, 1 fearless 50, 3 Mugs leader. How many people do I refer to? Please put in chat. And just imagine how awesome my team is. 3, yes, you're right. So the last one was probably, it's really funny when we have 3 Marketo user group leaders on the same team. So we have a lot of things to talk about. And with that, let's go to next item. I need to scroll, so it might be go a little bit up and down. My kind of like page next does not work here. All right, so today we will be talking about marketing automation in general and Marketo in particular. And we'll be taking one step back and thinking through leadership lens and through marketing like in general lens, what it gives us, what shall we do, and how we can make sure that our leadership understand us, we can prove our value that we are bringing, and in general, we are elevating our role and advocating for ourselves. We have Marketo, now what? First of all, it's important to understand and bring this always into this conversation, and it's not working. Oh. There is marketing automation and CRM. Normally it's Salesforce or Microsoft Dynamics or any other system that's out there, and they're all working together. And we are never talking about marketing automation on its own. It's always some kind of environment that we have. And then in some companies, the large ones especially, there is also some kind of data layer, data warehouse, CDP or something. And we are talking about this triangle. And by the way, there is, like I fully recommend a wonderful session on this done by Atumas. Amanda, you probably need to help me. Was it 2 years ago or 3 years ago? On MobsCon, there was a wonderful session done by Edward, where all these 3 parts were very well presented, but I do love this idea of looking at our marketing technology stack through the lens of 3 biggest components of that. And then we are going into like multiple different items around. Oh, hold on, over here. So essentially around marketing automation, Marketo, there is lots of satellites. Around Salesforce, there are lots of satellites, and there are very specific use cases for those. So whenever you have this huge landscape and like the most updated ones where you have thousands and thousands of different logos, I always want to repeat, like, that's not this, like none of those logos are the same. Some of them are huge platforms that are used a lot of across multiple different organizations. And some of them are relatively small and not very much used, like in terms of how much volume and market share they have. So whenever we are talking about all those platforms, like we also need to kind of keep in mind the scope and the volume and the like where it is fitting our stack. And in terms of marketing automation and marketing operations, when we are talking around what we are doing, we're looking at this angle of this. Like this is normally our major area where we are focused. However, sometimes Salesforce is a part of this and sometimes other big pieces as well, but this is like the most typical situation. And as we all know, Marketo does lots of wonderful things that are listed here. So how we are measuring marketing automation success and how we are talking to our leadership and saying like, okay, what it is all about, like how we want to say why we need more money, why we need more resources, what exactly we are bringing to the table, how we want to present and get some credit and raises and promotions. So the most typical situation would be ROI, return on investment. The thing is, it's extremely hard, almost impossible to give you exactly like we paid this amount of money for Marketo and we paid this amount of money for people who are using it, like what it brings. Well, it depends. It can bring a lot and it can bring nothing. It's like those resources that required, those budget that is needed is not necessarily getting transformed into, like automatically transformed into money, no. Then we are talking about KPIs that tie to revenue. So it might be pipeline bookings, MQLs, SQLs, numbers, values by region, by segment, by product. So you can slice and dice it all possible ways. Again, we are kind of like middle layer between what is happening and what we are providing. What kind of like, we still need to understand that our personal involvement and professionally, we can only enable, we can only amplify, but we don't necessarily generate those bookings because those bookings are happening elsewhere on sales team, and like MQLs are generated because something else is happening in the organization. Email metrics. Well, I can tell you for sure that whenever I see that email metrics is a measurement of marketing automation success, I'm getting like alerted. Like this is not a good indicator. We don't want to include this anywhere other than like very tactical level, very operational, very kind of internal as a marketing or even marketing operations team. But sometimes it happens. Reduce costs, increase efficiency. Again, this is really good indicators, and this is where I really feel comfortable that this is the right approach to measuring marketing automation success. However, sometimes it's very like you won't be able to kind of like do A/B testing. Like here we are doing a marketing automation, and here we do not do, right? Like so, like reducing costs would be also kind of like just convoluted into all other efforts that are happening. And similarly with efficiency, sometimes it's very hard to say like, we increased efficiency 23%. How would you do that? Potentially, you can do some kind of guessing and estimation that, for example, tickets that we've been approving and accepting, they were taking on average 20 hours of work, and now we have 10 hours of work, 50% improvement. Yes. However, again, it's like so many other factors and so many other areas where it can be skewed, it can be distorted, and sometimes it's just like so much effort to put into measuring it, so it might not be worth it. I mean, it's worth, but like with a kind of like level of estimation and approximation. Increase conversion rates. This is again a good one because you can measure, you can see, you can prove. This is something that is a clean thing to look at. For example, you're saying we increased our conversion rates from MQL to SQL. It was 5% and now it's 7%. And like these 2 points might bring like quite a significant step in terms of bookings and pipeline. So this is good. Again, this is where marketing automation is mostly kind of enabling and supporting, but not necessarily what we do in our daily life. Feeling happy and excited at work. I really want this to be my KPI. They want this to be my team's KPI. And I think it's kind of like, whenever I feel like I'm doing a great job, I feel good about it. Yeah, I think it's something good is happening, but I'm not sure I can put it into my unnecessarily performance review or something. Seeing happy customers, again, this is more kind of qualitative and anecdotal type of measurement. And full capacity. You commonly hear that again and again, that I want to have like improvement towards like full capacity of marketing automation of Marketo. And whenever I'm hearing this full capacity, I'm kind of like starting thinking through like what exactly this person means or team mean, and what we can do to move towards that goal. The challenge is, and this is like truly my perspective on this, based on my observations across multiple organizations, big and small, there is no such thing as full capacity. It's just like it's not happening because Marketo is such huge. It's so powerful. There are so many pockets here and there. It's physical. It's not possible to make it all done. Like it's kind of like, what's the last number on the like numeric number? Well, it's eternity. So I feel like it's exactly the same. It's eternity. And another thing that I want to mention, that unlike lots of people thinking about marketing automation engine, demand generation machine, like kind of like bringing this mechanistic, logistical kind of approach, I don't think that input or whatever, like the value that we are bringing, it's either linear or final. Like, how would I say I spent 3 more hours, 20 more hours doing some kind of optimization, or like, do I need to spend 2 more hours to have increase? Would it be linear? No, absolutely not. And like lots of those type of investment that we are doing in terms of resources and hours and brain power and education and training ourselves and upskilling our teams, you don't really know, is it going to give us what, like, it's never kind of like a vending machine where you just like put a number and you're getting soda. It's never this way. It's much more complex. And that's why it's important for us to understand and factor this complexity into the way we are assessing our efficiency. So as I'm saying, normally it's described like some kind of machine, but in reality, I really love the metaphor of like it's some kind of creature and there is some chemistry happening and you are like trying to put a little bit of more sugar and something is growing inside that creature, or you are putting more light and some, I don't know, branches are growing, or you're putting some nutrients and something else is happening. So, and you really try to kind of like, not too much light, not too much nutrients, like you're trying to kind of balance it out to ensure that it's growing properly and it's really becoming healthy, successful, and it does what we need it to do. So if you think about it, like this mechanistic approach, which like I understand, like we still need to go to finance and report on our metrics and ROI and everything, but like we still want to understand that it's much more complex. It's very interesting. It's live. I mean, kind of like live creature, and there are so much interesting things happening around that. So why we are talking about those live organisms? Because we are dealing with people, and our humans are our customers are human beings, and the way they behave, the way we open emails, the way they come to our websites, whatever they're doing, we cannot do, as I'm saying, like not too much light, not too low light, right? Because if we start sending more emails again and again, well, we know what will happen. It won't generate any more revenue, but we really want to understand what is the right volume, frequency, subject line, like all those parameters. Our stakeholders are human, and their understanding of marketing automation and what it can do and what cannot do also can be very, very different. And we need to listen, educate, advocate, and calibrate our own efforts based on what we are hearing. We're dealing with multiple systems, and some system can fail, or it can be very, bandwidth is very narrow, or something else is happening, and we cannot do what we need to do. And it's absolutely like sometimes we can, sometimes we cannot change this. There might be multiple also factors around team structure, reorganization, business change. So all of this is coming to our like routine and daily work, what we need to do. And obviously operational dependencies, which we all very well aware of. So if you are thinking about all different types of marketing automation configuration, marketing automation systems, how we can say like what's going on, how we are doing, and in general, what is the next step? How shall we develop it? What would be the right approach we follow? So this is really nutshell of this, gist of it. Like it needs to be optimal. It needs to be, we are talking about costs and benefits. Like we kind of like trying to get as efficient as possible, but efficiency not in terms of like we're building a beautiful castle in the desert and no one will be able to reach it, right? We're talking about how to make it all work and how to drive our marketing, our sales, our business to the next level, to the better customer experience, to the better revenue and other parameters. And this optimal level would be defined by like lots of different things related to teams, people, data, systems, processes that we have, skills level, business goals. Are we growing, or we are stable, or we just acquired another company, now we need to merge. So lots of things that we need to put into consideration. It will be also be reflected on our priority list and like whatever what is our number 1, 2, 3, 10 priorities, and how we are managing whenever we have fire drills and everything. So with that, there might be a framework. I'm not saying it's entirely maturity model, but it's kind of a maturity model. So basically we are looking at system side and business side of marketing automation. And system, there would be like 3 very, I would say, generalized levels where it's safe. System is safe, it's sustainable, and it's evolving. It goes better, it goes forward. And business, it's enabled, like literally, like basically foundations. It's at this transform level. So we're already making like some significant changes, steps, important innovation is happening, and drive where we're just like going full swing. So let's go into that. So safety, whenever I'm thinking about the system, like GDPR and compliance is number 1. And I do think it's very commonly overlooked by lots of businesses because no one wants to talk about GDPR, and Kim won't let me lie about that. It's kind of, I would say, boring, but it's absolutely important. And whenever you feel that someone does not want to talk about this, just talk about fines and bring on all those conversations around data and everything. So how to measure safety? Again, this is not necessarily like the very first thing you do, but whenever you are already kind of like level set with Marketo, it's already done. It's like you need to kind of re-evaluate whatever you are doing from a system perspective and see what would be the right level of safety measurements. How to measure safety incidents and assessing vulnerabilities. So it's either auditing or scorecard or whatever it might be, depending on how large your organization, how much resources you have. And your partners here would be data security and legal. There would be also important part of user access and user management, data access and management, and all kind of training documentation around this. So such a simple thing that someone left the company and no one told you, you didn't, this person is still having access to Marketo. I had a major, like really major issues at one of my previous jobs when we had like a full swing investigation, how it happened, who was involved, who was in charge, how did this person logged into the system, what information was taken from this, because we are talking about customer data, and on and on and on. And it's just like this simple thing, just remove access, might cause such a big pain. And now we are talking about, especially if you're working with government sector or some very restrictive regulated, like medical or finance, there are lots of boundaries that you need to think very early in your pretty much any kind of process that you follow. Who is having access to what and how you can manage this access. Sustainability. So we just jumped through GDPR fines, but I believe those are funny numbers that we all don't want to kind of like, not on my watch, please. We don't want to be part of this, right? Sustainability. I'm saying our system is stable, it's predictable, it works the way it should work. And we, as marketing operations professional, we can leave our desk for lunch. I think that's good enough for us to like take credit for this. And there is also some kind of what if plans or protocol when something is going off. Going back to situation with vulnerability or access or anything, you need to know if email goes to the wrong audience, if there was subject line, if there was something else, like what is the right protocol to manage those situations? Who needs to be involved, at what cadence, what SLAs? And again, if it's a small company and you're still in the very early, it might be kind of like down the road, but for larger enterprise organizations, this is like very critical and you'd rather be safe than sorry. And how we're measuring it. Fire drills against project work. So fire drills meaning you don't know what you're gonna do in 20 minutes. And project work, something that you have deep concentrated time, something that you enjoy. Repetitive low impact work. Again, we want to reduce it and we want to have high impact, more important, more strategic type of work. And how you can measure it? Well, you can either kind of like give estimation how much of your time, like percentage wise, and like how this percentage like is shifting from one to another, or like what is the volume of your tickets, or some other involvements that you can kind of like measure in one way or another. And your partners here would be IT and project management. One way or another, sometimes it's just like one team, sometimes it's just like a general surrounding business environment that you have. But you need to still think through what you are doing and whether you are running business or changing business. We want to change business, not necessarily run business all the time. And evolvement, when it's becoming really sophisticated, matured, we have roadmaps, we have robust planning, we are thinking ahead our stakeholders. So we know that they are going to launch this product, and we're already building up some frameworks to reflect this in channels, in reporting, in the way, like in processes, in our ticketing system, in our intake form that might be having lots of options for the new processes that are coming. And strategic and priorities alignment, meaning our stakeholders fully aligned, they don't come to us why something is not done, and everyone is happy. Again, this is kind of ideal state. We are all coming there one way or another, but it's important to at least like have this directional intention move there. How we are measuring milestones, projects completed, high impact projects, they can be just like put as a separate one, as a separate measurements. And this is where we are working with our main stakeholders. And yeah, we are talking about like we're still evolving, right? Like it's evolution. We can't just get right into this perfect state of affairs right away. And I also think that having this crawl, walk, run approach and overall environment, and again, like we need to understand that marketing ops and automation is kind of like susceptible to any kind of environment, culture issues, because we are in the front point, right? Like something is not working, deadlines are shifted, and it's all kind of like trickling down to our team, and we are having to deal with all of that. Again, if there is aggressive competition for resources or budget or anything, we might be kind of like pushed for later and so on. And I'm saying that we don't want to go into like this mode where we need to struggle, where we need to fight every time. And this, at the same time, we don't want to be too slow. We want to be able to evolve. We want to function fast and quick. And going into business part of our framework. So enable, again, this is like very fundamental type of functionalities and perspective. So at this level, we are talking about Center of Excellence built in Marketo. We have standardized email templates. We have program shells. We have some kind of simple normalization. We have preference center and so on. So it's like very basic set of functionality that is commonly going with Marketo or Marketo implementation, right? And kind of like maybe next level of using it. And I brought some examples here. And yes, sometimes it might be also coming with some simple scoring models or some integrations between these systems and so on. So what we need for this, maybe a few people, Marketo certified, and it might not be enough when it's a mature marketing organization or very saturated, very competitive market. Meaning that if we are at this basic level and we are doing exactly what everyone else is doing and our competitors are doing, we're way behind, right? And this might be a good business case for us to come to our leadership and saying like, look, we're here and our competitors are there. We won't be able to succeed. We won't be able to provide any kind of reasonable support of your business, of our business, if we are not putting more rigor, more resources, more focus, more priorities into marketing automation. However, I'm also kind of like balancing it out. However, if we see a very typical shiny object syndrome, oh, we have a new tool that we want to try, or there is some magic scoring mechanism, attribution platform or something, let's try it out. If we observe this, this is a very clear sign that our team is not as a like general, our stakeholders are not necessarily ready for going to the like next level of maturity. Why? Because it means that we need to spend more time advocating, explaining, talking about how much it would take, how much time and efforts it would take us to get data security approval, conversation through CRM and any other system that needs to be involved for just like a very simple pilot. So instead of like thinking, oh, we're just like throwing out and we are running this pilot, it's not necessarily happening. Sometimes it might be much more efficient to just like utilize what we already have and put this pilot later or as a background, but it's not something that will happen in a couple of weeks. In general, non-specific impatience, concerns, something is not working. How much time have you heard Marketo is broken? And it's because like something is like not even market related. So if you hear that, it means that we are not ready for sophisticated, some very sophisticated features in Marketo. We truly need to get focused on more education, on working together with our teams to get them involved in our like day-to-day life so they can understand the complexity, they can understand a little bit how data is structured, what is happening, and from there we can all get to the next level. But like our team is not ready yet. So moving to the next layer, this is where data enrichment is happening in a more robust way, where we can include intent data into our scoring mechanism, lead prioritization process, ecosystem of tools and channels. This is where it's getting more complex. We might have integrations with our internal big systems like CDP or BI tools like Tableau or something. We have engagement streams and we have multi-channel reporting as an example. And something like we have a content syndication that is sending leads through API, and we are capturing their topic of their interests through like those specific fields. And those leads are getting added to specific engagement program. So that would be kind of like, I would say, a cool project to have, right? And it would be interesting and it would be like really exciting to have. Again, we need to ensure that everyone is on the same page with us. So what we need to be at this level? First of all, it's like a very significant, a heavy collaboration happening between marketing operations and IT. So those complex integrations and data pipelines, they need to be fully supported. And it might not be enough when business is hungry for more advanced use cases. So they want to have those specific content, like pieces of content, and that specific lead source, and that specific event, and much more complex lead routing or nurture streams or something. So that might be like going to the next level. However, what might stop us moving right ahead? If you personally, as a part of marketing operations team, I feel like extremely overwhelmed. If you have constant priorities and it's like daunting you, it means that, well, you can't. Like, you really need to stay here for a while until your leadership figure it out, giving more resources or giving you better directions in terms of priorities and everything. Again, we're talking about optimal, right? Like, we are trying to optimize everything, including our own pursuit of happiness at our work. And ultimately, the drive level, where we have true personalization, and I mean not email trigger, I mean email token in first name token in the email. We have complex trigger-based scenarios, A/B testing with like really reviewed results, multi-touch attribution, one model or another, but it's like truly we are looking at those touches, full funnel analytics and BI from like unknown to known to MQL, inquiries MQL, like all those funnels up to the wins. Cross-platform tracking. This is like really finicky, right? Like, we want to see what's happening on our website, and we want to do this identity stitching between the systems, right? And there is like also lots of programming and coding at this level. So this is like really interesting place to work at, very challenging, lots of cool stuff happening, but it requires skills, support, freedom of like having a free capability of like get focused on this, not to be pulled into all kinds of fire drills. And as an example, data feeds from custom data objects in real time based on specific data points. Some emails are going out and some emails will be going later. There might be scenarios like abandoned cart or some complex, I would say, like reminders or along those lines, and velocity scripting and things like that. So let's go to next. So basically, what requires at this level? Well, strong technical skills across the entire organization, not only marketing operations. And this is, I believe, the biggest, really like the biggest challenge from my point of view. The technical skills shouldn't be considered tactical. Everyone needs to understand what it is and how it works. And strong teamwork, collaboration across multiple teams with very flexible and supportive way of working. So as you see, we are going kind of like combining it all together. All those configurations, branches, and like how we want to model our marketing automation platform and the whole ecosystem is truly depends on those factors that we talked about. And it really depends, and it really might be very different from organization to organization, from a team to a team. And this is where we hope that we'll get to the situation where our environment is becoming beautiful, very efficient. And again, it's not a mechanism, it's a live experience that we have. So with that, we have 17 minutes left. I would love to wrap up and open up for any questions.